Okay, part 2, whatever I'm going to title this. Hopefully something better than reinventing the wheels, right? Yeah, by and large, they just walk in the room. I got to take your temperature. I got to take your vitals. Swallow this, do this. Let me poke you with this, and that's okay. It's a really wonderful facility. Everybody here is really, really good about it. Very helpful, very concerned. So, so what am I to do with the knowledge that I feel I've been given, and really a whole decades-long saga of revelation of truth about what's going to happen in these end times? And not so much about, in my mind, knowing what's going to happen, but not being given anything specific about that. I have not had a vision. I've not had a near-death experience. But rather where to go and how to face the things coming. And that's another reason that this is a good book for me to get back into. And that is because what she saw and felt in the afterlife, as I read it, I will try to get across to everyone that that's what I was feeling when I had the vision that motivated me. Yeah, I'll just wait until that in its time. I'm not going to even begin to touch on it now. If you're familiar with me at all, you know a little bit about it, hopefully, and I won't repeat it here. If you're not familiar with me and haven't heard it, then you can wait too. Sorry. Teaser, trailer for upcoming story. Hopefully my voice won't start cracking. All right, so where do I start? Well, I can just start by reading the book. And I got through the preface, the introduction the other day. And I listened to it, and I don't remember exactly. It kind of seems like I didn't quite finish it, like I got interrupted. I'll also put links down below with a couple of the other videos that are out there on YouTube about her interviews with her. Sarah had her death experiences in 1979 and for many years told only a few people. Then in 1988, when she almost died a second time, she felt strongly that she needed to tell more people of her experience, including the information of what she saw happening in the future. Sarah is on videotape as early as 1995 talking about tall buildings in New York falling down, an economic collapse in the United States and around the world, a devastating biological attack on the United States, and other events. At the time Sarah had her experience, she was not a member of any organized religion. In fact, though raised as a Christian, she had come to be an agnostic. Believing that there was probably not a God, she therefore didn't care about religious questions or concerns. It should be noted that even after her experience, her life has not been easy. In 1996, she suddenly became blind because of her diabetes and a few days later collapsed from kidney failure and congestive heart failure. When she got out of the hospital, the doctors told her she needed to go on to dialysis immediately or she would probably die within a few months because her kidneys were only functioning at approximately 1%. She refused and unbelievably continues to talk constantly about her experience to all those who will listen. She spends a lot of time in the hospice program and also counsels often and also counsels often with those who have gone through or are going through tremendous trials of their own. She offers hope, compassion, and insight as she uniquely can. She keeps saying time is running out for our society faster than anyone can possibly understand. Sarah says she looks forward to the time when she will be called back to the world of spirits she visited and be in the presence of her Savior one more time, because she knows that there really is no such thing as death. Time is running out. That's one thing I've been saying over and over and over again. Because of the reasons that I've seen the future, and I know how bad it's going to be. And for many years, that just almost killed me. Knowing the feeling and knowing the suffering and not being able to do anything about it, and constantly talking to people and never getting any decent response, and being mocked and ridiculed and hated. And I've done what I could do, and so that burden is somewhat lessened, because I just I've tried. What more could I have done, other than completely surrender and pray a lot more, yeah, that's what I should have done. So anyway, all right. My life before. Let me see how far we can get through this. R. I'm going to do like I did with Lights Out. I'm just going to read from the book. If you want to get a copy of the book, you can get Kindle and read along with me, or, best I can do. I could screenshot this and slide and do a slideshow, but this way you can read my lips if you want. My life before, Chapter 1. I do not like the term near-death experience. There was nothing near-death about it. Even though we refer to it as such, those on the other side refer to it as the new birth. Prior to the time when the paramedics pronounced me dead at the scene of my successful suicide, quote-unquote, I had been seeking oblivion and darkness. Because of my horrific experiences in life, I had come to believe that there was no God and therefore no afterlife. And so when from somewhere near the ceiling, I suddenly found myself watching the police and the paramedics work on my body, I learned that I had been quite wrong. My story, however, cannot be told adequately without first giving a little background and history of my early life. I don't intend it to be a pity-me story or a depressing one, even though that is exactly what it was for me for many, many years. It is necessary to take a glimpse into that part of my life in order to better understand the dramatic change that came into my heart as a result of my experience. It needs to be said that before I attempted to take my life, I was a completely miserable, unhappy, and bitter person, full of anger and hate. I hated people. I hated life, and I especially hated my life. The fact that such horrible, terrible things had happened merely proved to me that God did not exist, for if there were such a God, He would surely not have allowed me to experience such pain, sorrow, and suffering. At the time, I actually hoped there was no life after death. That way I would not have to remember anything about my life. Life seemed to hold only unhappiness and misery, and as such had lost all appeal for me. These are the emotions that brought me to believe that the only alternative left for me was to end it all by taking my life. Though difficult to talk about even now, after so many years, I must describe the path I had traveled in life that ultimately led to that day of despair. My life before. While thinking about how to begin this book, I was sitting on the steps of my duplex looking up at the sky, and had a flashback of when I was 8 years old and there was a boy named Gregory in my neighborhood. He once told me that if you wished on the first star that appeared at night, there was great power there and your wish would surely come true. As a child, I didn't have a lot of toys or pretty clothes, and there were a lot of possessions I could have wished for. However, later that night I found myself sitting on the steps of a rundown red brick apartment in South Los Angeles, wishing that my father would die. This I did every night for as long as I could remember, because I truly hated my father. As a little girl, I daydreamed a lot. right. For hours at a time, I would sit on the couch or in the car and rock back and forth and pretend that I was anywhere except where I was. Often in my imagination, I was the princess being taken off to the dungeon by a wicked king or wizard or something like that. I'd wait and wonder for long hours